the Rambler Network.
It is time for the book recap, June 2026. Yeah, this month it was a themed month, and it was Classics Month. Some of them, especially the first few, could have been done last month when it was books that I was basically nostalgic for. But I knew I was doing this month, so I decided to push them to this month. Yeah. There's still only 10, but I could have easily done a lot more. But because now we're going into the summer months, and I work at a landmark in San Francisco, it's a lot busier, more hours, more tired, so I don't have as much time now. So I'm thinking for the next couple months, at least until summer ends and we go back into slow season, there'll be less books. That's something I wasn't really thinking of. I was like, okay, I'm getting more and more books each month. Let's ramp it up. And then I was like, oh, right, I don't have as much time as I normally do. So just saying that now, in case the next couple months have less than 10 books. Yeah. So starting with book 1, which is actually 61 overall. War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells, read by Simon Vance, started the 1st of June, finished the 3rd of June. See, that's what I mean. You'll notice that some of these are really short books, but it seemed to have taken me several days on some of them, and that's why I don't have as much time as I used to. War of the Worlds, it's only a few hours long. I could have easily done this in an afternoon. In fact, this is one of those books I read a lot as a kid. I would read it so many times. I don't even know how many times I read it. Let's see. I'm just gonna fly by some of these. Number 62 for the year. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne, read by Michael Picard. Started the 3rd of June, finished the 6th of June. Another one I read a lot as a kid. For both War of the Worlds and this one, I had to fight the urge to say, it's a classic. Look, that's the theme of the month. So I'm going to try not to say that. It's kind of a given. So the third book this month was The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, read by Russell Tovey. Started the 6th of June, finished the 8th of June. There's like a Mandela effect with this. It keeps flopping back and forth, and I was telling a friend about this, and she agreed with me, because this story, I read it a lot as a kid, and at the time, it was called The Picture of Dorian Gray. And then it was The Portrait of Dorian Gray. Out of all the books on this list this month, this is the only one I physically own. When I bought it, it said The Portrait of Dorian Gray. The cover said The Portrait of Dorian Gray, and I knew that. I knew it said The Portrait of Dorian Gray, and I referenced it. Made a joke about it. At the store I worked at the time, there was a thing we did on Wednesdays called Senior Day, where they got a discount. Well, this one day, this guy walked up to my register, and he said, "Senior discount." I was like, "You look younger than me." And he showed me his ID, and he was born at like 47. The guy's like 70. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I gave him the discount. And I told my coworkers, like, "Oh yeah, he's been coming here for years. Yeah, he looks young, but he's older. He had grandkids and everything." And I said, somewhere out there's a portrait of him that's very decrepit looking. And yeah, I used that word because I had just bought that book, The Portrait of Dorian Gray. Well, now the book is titled The Picture of Dorian Gray. And I thought, okay, that's all the audiobooks are called The Picture of Dorian Gray. But I couldn't find the portrait anywhere. I couldn't find any reference to The Portrait of Dorian Gray. And I'm like, but my book says portrait. I pulled out my copy. It says picture. I'm like, Mandela effect. This isn't a forgotten memory, or like, oh, I forgot. I thought it said this. I know it said the portrait. And in a few years, it'll say portrait. And then this will change, and like I guess like the way the Mandela effect works, this audio will change to where like I'm like, and now it says portrait, but before it said picture, and yeah. So I don't know. I don't like the Mandela effect because it like hurts my head. Where was I? 'Cause I scrolled. I shouldn't have yet. Oh no, I scrolled up to the past month. Okay, let's see. 64 for the year. The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, read by Tim Robbins. Started the 8th of June, finished the 9th of June. And at the time that I mapped out what I was going to read this month, this was the most recent book on the list. It changed after, but, I was trying to stick more 1800s, early 20th century, and this was 1920s, so I was like, oh, I'm not going any more recent than this. But you'll see, that didn't last long. Number 65, Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Maud Montgomery, read by Rachel McAdams. Started the 10th of June, finished the 11th of June. I've always been a huge fan of that story. In fact, I should do an episode on the DVDs I own. Because I should make a video. I should make an episode, not a video. Well, maybe a video. I should make an episode on here of my physical media. Because I don't just have DVDs. I try to only have Blu-ray. I have mostly Blu-ray. I have some DVDs. I own the Sullivan Entertainment Blu-ray collection of all 4 Anne of Green Gables movies, as well as the complete series of Anna Green. Road to Avonlea on DVD. So like I am a huge fan of that story, and yeah. Funny thing about Rachel McAdams. This is something I've discussed with a couple friends. I found a workaround for this though. I always used to get her and Amy Adams mixed up because of the Adams part of the name, and something that one of my friends pointed out. I haven't forgotten it since. Amy Adams is AA. Rachel McAdams is not. That's, I don't know. Because one of the names is because the only thing they have in common is Adams. Rachel McAdams and Amy Adams. And so I would be like Rachel McAdams. I'd be like Rachel Adams, or I'd say Amy McAdams, and wrong one. Which one are you talking about? And so yeah, one way to remember them is Amy Adams is and it's, I don't know, maybe it's just a me thing. Number 66, Treasure Island, Robert Louis Stevenson, read by Gildar Jackson. Started the 11th of June, finished the 11th of June. I was planning on watching movies to go along with all of these. Like with War of the Worlds, I was going to watch the 2005 Steven Spielberg one, the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. You would think with that being as classic as it is, there'd be a whole bunch of adaptations, but the most recent big budget one was the Disney one from the 50s. And there's been things inspired by it, but not like a full-on 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea adaptation. Portrait of Dorian Gray, again, there's not a whole lot on that. Great Gatsby, the Leonardo DiCaprio one, Anne of Green Gables, I just said the one that I preferred. But for this, I was going to watch Anne with an E, but my Netflix is currently down. I didn't watch anything that I said I was going to watch. Treasure Island is the only one. Treasure Island is the only one this month that I actually watched something after. It's my favorite adaptation of Treasure Island, and it's Muppet Treasure Island. I grew up with that as a kid, and that was actually my introduction to the story. And what's funny is there's that meme. Like you can learn a lot about somebody by where they know Tim Curry from. Everyone says either Pennywise or Rocky Horror Picture Show. Sometimes people say Home Alone too. I'm the only one who says Muppet Treasure Island. Now, what does that say about me? It's like you learn a lot about someone by where they know Tim Curry. What is it? I don't know what it means. Number 67 was, oddly enough, probably my favorite book I read this month. To Kill a Mockingbird by Lee Harper, read by Sissy Spacek. I tried going for the celebrity narrators, and I hit the jackpot this month with some of them, especially the last one I did not expect. I'll get to that. Started the 12th of June, finished the 16th of June. I didn't know anything about To Kill a Mockingbird. I didn't know what it was about. In fact, the only thing I thought I knew about it ended up being the wrong book. I thought it was the one with the Walking Dead reference. Oh, look at the flowers! Just look at the flowers. That's of Mice and Men, and it's rabbits. Look at the rabbits. Yeah, To Kill a Mockingbird is a completely different book. The only other thing I knew about it is that there was a meme I saw where it says, like, some school district banned To Kill a Mockingbird because it made people uncomfortable. And then someone commented, "That's the point!" And so that's all I knew about it. And it's a classic. And yeah, the first half, it just seemed like a story of like a small town. And I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Like not much of a plot. It's more of like, this is kind of a day in the life. Not day in the life. Kind of like a small town. If it was made into a TV show, that'd be really interesting, because it's like, here's life in a small town, day to day. It's like little stories going on, and I thought, oh, okay, this is actually kind of interesting. I'm really enjoying this. And then the second half comes, and I'm gonna have some spoilers here, just in case anyone other than me hadn't read this book. I think I'm the last person to read it, because everyone else, they're like, you haven't read that yet? I'm like, no. I'm like, why haven't you? I'm like, I haven't gotten to it. So, minor spoilers, because I say minor because, again, everyone's read it. Second half, there's a trial, and I thought the trial was really interesting, and I was even discussing it with a friend. I was like, okay, it's obvious he's going to be let off, because she said that he attacked her with his left arm, or the left hand, or whichever arm it was. And then Atticus was like, all right, stand up. And he stood up, and that hand that she said he attacked her with was shriveled up. And I'm like, oh, it couldn't have been him. So he's going to be let off. And then I remembered, oh, this is the South in the 1930s, and he's black. And yeah, he was found guilty, and then was murdered in prison. And something I find interesting is what I picked up from when Atticus announced that the story that he was given, the given story of how he was killed, was not the way that I think actually happened. It's a fiction. It's fiction. It's not like it actually happened. But it makes it sound like he was trying to escape, and he was shot trying to escape. But the way he says it, it's like, I don't think he even believes that. I'm thinking, if they were to like make this into like a new movie or a TV show or something, like while he's telling that story of, oh, he was trying to escape and he was shot, they should like do like a cutaway to that with him voicing over it, where he's like being cornered by a guard, and they start attacking him, and then start shooting him. Like, that's the vibe I was getting from that ending. Like, when he was talking about it, I'm like, I don't feel like that happened. He didn't seem like the kind of person who would try to escape. I mean, yeah, he was innocent, but they were also trying to do an appeal. And I feel like that area of the country would have tried to kill him if he tried to appeal it. So I feel like that story makes more sense. But yeah, like this, I feel like this one was the most interesting story out of the whole book, all the books I read this month. That was followed by number 68 this month, Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne, read by Joel Frumpkin. Started the 17th of June, finished the 17th of June. It was a 2-hour read. Well, audiobook. As much as I liked Kill a Mockingbird, it was kind of heavy. So I was like, hey, let's lighten it up for the next one. I was number 69 I was going to read next, and I'm like, let's have a buffer between them, because that was kind of heavy there. So I put Winnie the Pooh there, and yeah, all I knew was the Disney Winnie the Pooh, which That's not the original. No, the original Winnie the Pooh was hilarious. It was made for kids, obviously, but also read with kids in mind. It there's like a humor to it I was not expecting. There's a quote I sent my sister the other day, and let's see. Oh, I sent this to my sister while I was listening to it. I'm listening to the audiobook of Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. I am so used to the Disney version. They turned him into a children's character. The original novel is a much funnier and clever. Wow. The original novel is much funnier and cleverer than you'd expect if you only know the Disney version. Then I quote, I am a bear of very little brain. However, I have thought about this carefully and arrived at the wrong conclusion. Quote from the novel. Like, there's so many times where I laugh. I'm like, this is Winnie the Pooh? The best way I can describe it, the only time I can think of Disney actually using the same kind of humor used in the book is from the 2011 movie. Like, Piglet, can you not? I cannot. So you can tie a knot. I cannot not. When the pig goes, who's there? That's the kind of humor that's in the book. And like, I wish Disney had like actually adapted that kind of humor, because like you just see him as like, oh, he's a preschool character or something. But no. I actually kind of want to read the rest of the series. I think there's only 2 or 3 books. I hear there's a Winnie the Pooh series, and I'm thinking, oh, there's like 15, like Wizard of Oz. Like, no, there's only 2 or 3. Yeah. So book 69 is the one that I wanted a buffer for. 1984 by George Orwell, read by Theo Solomon. Started. I'm looking at the dates. Yeah, this is what I mean by being. This is getting to the busy time now. Started the 18th of June, finished the 25th of June. This book it gets referenced a lot, especially when like things happen politically and the people don't like, and they're like, see, and then they like quote the book, and I'm like, okay, you can use this on like any political party. Of course, now you can really use it now, but like something I've noticed while listening to the audiobook, yeah, like a vast majority of this book is just listing off things that the party and Big Brother, Oceania, like the things that they did this, and they hate when you do that, and they just list things wrong with society at the time, and they'll vaporize you if they disagree with something you said. And I feel like, I mean, there was a story there, but I mostly got out of it was this country and the regime was really awful. And I'm going to list off some things that they did. And I'm like, yeah, I like the actual story part. There's one part near the end that I thought was legitimately terrifying. They had him in custody, and they were trying to get him. They were trying to like convince him. Well, like a thing that they kept doing. That the thing is, the party were trying to convince people that 2 + 2 is 5, which sounds silly, but that was like their test. And it's like, how many fingers am I holding up? 4, zap. How many fingers am I holding up? 4, zap. How many fingers am I holding up? 5. Okay, but then they kept doing it. They wanted him to say 5. He would say 4. They would zap him, and then they would like turn it up to like higher, and then finally he would say 5, and they'd say, no, you're just telling us what we want to hear. What you need to actually see 5 fingers. And so like that part, I'm like, okay, that part's legitimately scary. Like, it's given Clockwork Orange there with the eyes, and like forcing him to watch something. Like, I didn't I liked it for the effectiveness, but I didn't like it for the content, if that makes sense. You know, it's like, I hate this character, but I love this character, that sort of thing. Like, I hated the scene, but I loved it at the same time. I will say I was glad when it ended. The final book of the month, book 70. This is what I was talking about. I hit the jackpot with the celebrity thing. I did not expect this person to have ever read an audiobook. Not that I didn't think he could read, it's just I didn't think he would lend his voice to an audiobook. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain, read by Bing Crosby. Started the 26th of June, finished the 26th of June, which was today. It was a 2-hour read. And after I finished it, I realized it was the abridged version. The actual version is like 6 hours long. And I was like, what's the difference? And it's like, basically, I got the version with like all the important parts, and like the long version like expands like the world. And I don't know. I didn't find this out till after I finished it. I'm like, well, it's too late now. I already finished the one. I didn't want to. I feel like if I were to read the unabridged version, it would be book 71. Because I was like, I don't want to do that. I'm fine with what I got. It was a cohesive story, and I understood it. Okay, that's all I needed. Also, Bing Crosby doesn't voice that one, so yeah. Maybe that's why it was the abridged one. He only lent his voice for a couple hours. It's like, I only got a couple hours. Give me what you got. And so, yeah, because I'd never read Tom Sawyer growing up. I remember people saying that, oh, it's racist. It uses the N-word a lot. And then when I was looking up, I was like, I was going to look up Huck Finn. I was going to read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. And that's the one that uses the N-word a lot. And it's like, that one was the controversial one that gets banned. Tom Sawyer is the one that gets recommended because it doesn't use it. I'm like, oh, it just uses a different slur. I've heard people say that the Injun is, like, when they call him Injun Joe, like, that's a slur, a Native American slur. And I was like, they use it in Tom and Huck in the 90s, the movie with Jonathan Taylor Thomas, which, I mean, that was the 90s. So I'm not going to be like, oh, it's fine. They used it in the 90s. What's the worst that happened in the 90s? Like, I don't think if they made it now, they would use it. They would probably call him something else. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I could add, like some updates, some news, some podcast news or whatever. I will say the 5th season of Casablanca is now live. It's the first one with a theme and a title. It's called Casablanca Silent Treatment, and all season I will be covering silent films. All 25 episodes this season will be silent films. And yeah, if you haven't been listening to that, then yeah, there's already been 2 episodes. Episode 3 of the season will go live on Sunday. I try not to do an episode of Rambling Rambler on the same day an episode of another episode goes live. I try not to overlap episodes. So, like, I finished Tom Sawyer today, and I didn't want to record today. But my next day off is Sunday, and I'm like, oh, I'll do it then. But then that's the day the next episode of Casablanca goes live, and I don't want to overlap them, and I don't have a day off the rest of the month after that, so this was the only time I could do it. So this is, I don't want to be like, I'm just getting it out of the way, I don't actually care. If it was actually like that, I was just, okay, here's the books I read this month. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 10. All right, that's what I read. Oh, well, that was a 2-minute episode. Okay, I'm done. So, like, yeah. No, like, once I actually started setting up, I'm like, this is kind of fun. But anyway, I'm going to end this here. I want to record more episodes. The only reason there's been fewer episodes, because I don't like how between April and May there was no episodes other than the book recaps. I want there to be episodes between the book recaps. I have like ideas for like 3 or 4. I have 6 episode ideas that are ready to go. I could just hit record and start talking about them. But again, I don't have much time. I'm doing other things. When I'm not working, I have other projects I'm working on, and that's why I did the Hayley Williams episode, because I'm like, I have time right now. I'm gonna record a little bit because I want episodes between the book recaps. I don't want this to just be a book podcast. It's kind of a rambling podcast, just random, be whatever you want it to be about. So, yeah, I'm gonna try to record more, but I can't promise anything until at least the summer season's over and we go back to slow season, because I don't have a whole lot of time, because people want to go to this landmark for some reason. Anyway,
The Rambler Network.